Good morning, everyone. Today we celebrate the birthday of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Now, some might still say, well, how do we know that today was actually her birthday? Well, it's as with a lot of these liturgical dates, if we don't know precisely where they are, then we would attempt to get them as close as we could. It's on that basis that sometimes we're not quite sure when Christmas was. Some people suggest, well, maybe Christmas is actually only in June or October or whatever. So, well, we celebrate on the 25th of December. So we celebrate the birthday of Mary today. Now, the interesting thing about Mary is that she was born without sin. Now, that's quite an interesting one because the rationale behind that is that if Jesus was to be born of Mary, there's no way that she could be sinful. And so therefore she needs to be born in a state of sinlessness. And so it's a belief of the church, and it is one of those things that we follow with appreciation. Interesting thing for us is that Mary, having been born without sin, also had to be resistant to temptation because it remained sinless all her life. And that must have been quite challenging. And Jesus, we know, was also tempted. Mary was tempted. And must have taken great faith and great conviction for her not to give in to that temptation. For us, we need to remind ourselves that our baptism is a rebirth for us. It's our spiritual birth. It's the time when we become sinless. And the temptation is for us to remain sinless for the rest of our lives. I'm afraid that probably that doesn't happen. In fact, we would know it doesn't happen because we have the sacrament of reconciliation, which is available to us. But we should attempt to do that. And in order to do that, to appreciate that we have been sinless at some stage, that our original sin was wiped out and we haven't had the opportunity to sin. So at a very young age, we were as pure as you could be. And we need to always try to move back to that. You say, well, that's easy to say. I know it's not easy to say. Well, it's probably easier to say than do. But that is our challenge. And that's the challenge that we should always remind ourselves of in terms of making our decisions in life. Is this going to be acceptable to the country, acceptable to the law of mankind, or is this going to be acceptable to the law of God? And that's what we need to balance ourselves against. You have a wonderful day. We'll see you again. God bless. Bye-bye.